How long is this meant to be? Ready? Do I look at the camera or do I look at you? I had been friends with a guy from back home on the Isle of Wight, and I liked him a lot. He was kind of playing me around, but then we ended up getting together. And then it happened that every time we were both home, we would get together, we'd spend time together, we would hook up. This probably happened over the span of like 2 years. So we have a really good friendship. We message whenever we're in different continents. We've got a really good relationship. So anyway, and basically when I went back home for Christmas, I knew he was going to be there, and I knew we'd probably end up hooking up, even though I didn't know how I feel. We'd been talking about it, we'd been flirting, and everything was fine. And I finally meet with him, and he's only home for like 2 or 3 days. So we're like, this night, so my friends too, we're all going to go out on a night out. And in my head, I'm like, this is probably gonna be the night.
Right.
I think he knows it too, because it's a thing that happens. So we have a night out. He gets really like drunk, and I'm not really a big fan of things like that. And then it's kind of like a lot of the friends like tease us about it, and I feel like it's kind of put on my shoulders, and I feel like I'm inclined to take him home because that's what we do. But then I'm a lot better at finding my own opinion now, and as we get to, how long is this meant to be?
However long you want.
Okay. As we get to we get picked up in like a taxi, he's like, I can't go home, and we end up having, I like spill my feelings out to him because he asked me, he's like, do you want me to come home? And I'm like, you're just so drunk, and I told him, I was like, I would have been in a long distance relationship with you. I really liked you when you left for the summer, like even after Christmas, like I was like, I really liked you. I like spilled my guts out to him. So he knew where I stood, and he implied that he really liked me back. And I was like, fuck, maybe this is going somewhere. We got to my place, and I was like, just my stomach, I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to have him in my bed. I didn't want to be looking after him. I just didn't want to do it. So he went all the way the other side of the island. Luckily, our other friends live next door to me. So I was like, well, I fucking have to take him home. He can't go home. So he came to mine, and then he got out of the minivan, and he like fell on his face. He was that drunk. And I was like, I don't like this. You know me.
Yeah.
I hate that. And my grandparents were coming in the morning. It was going to be Christmas Eve. I was like, fuck this. I'm sober. I don't want to do this. So I sent him to the friend's place next door, and I was like, I'm so sorry, listen, you have to take him in, because that was an option. It was always on the table. I was like, I can't do it, I'm sorry. And they were nice, they took him in. He sulked about it. We argued the whole it took me 10 minutes to get him down the road, because he argued with me. Oh, he's an Aries, if that's any consolation. The next morning I sent him a message. I'm like, I'm really sorry that happened, but hey, like, I just trusted my gut. Doesn't mean I like you, doesn't mean I don't like you, okay? And he was iffy about it, but then he kind of like warmed up. Like he sulked like a baby for the first couple of conversations. And then I was like, well, I wish you were here for longer, a few more days, because then I could see you again. But he was going in like a day's time up north to see his family. And he was like, well, why didn't you come to Copenhagen for New Year? So he lives in Copenhagen, and he was visiting, and he was going back for New Year. And I knew that. And he was like, why don't you come to Copenhagen for New Year? I was like, fuck it, okay. One of those impulse decisions I think a 21-year-old should make. I booked the flights. We have like 2 days to go, and we're getting on the same flight there. I'm like, fuck it, I'm excited. It's a new city. I've always wanted to go. He's invited me. He's like, I'm not gonna beg you to come, but the invite's there. I was like, okay, yeah, fine, I'll do it. That's very much how he was. So it comes to it, and we meet in the airport. I'm super excited, and he's kissing me. He's like holding my hand. And I'm like, it's like we're in a relationship. I was like, this is nice. I'm so excited. Like he was like being so loving to me. We were like having fun, and I was like, this is always what I wanted. And then we get on the flight, separate seats, but we get the flight, we get to his place, and all his friends from Sweden, from like his university, I knew they were going to be there. We were having a dinner, and then we were going to watch the fireworks for New Year. So I knew they were there. I was like prepared for that. We get to his apartment, and we all go upstairs, and then he just ignores me. He like doesn't talk to me. He just, as soon as we get inside and we're with his friends, he just ignores me. So there's three sets of couples, and then there's one other friend who's single. Her name's, let's call her Marjorie for now. I'm like, okay, maybe he's just stressed, whatever. I try making conversation. I like touch him a couple of times, and he's like stone cold with me. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna make some friends. I'm really good at that. I'm really good at making new friends. So I'm like, just get myself involved. I try not to think too much about it. I make friends with them. We're like laughing. It's a bit awkward at first, but we get it. And then we cook food, which is really nice. And it's like I'm not there. He wasn't associated with me at all. So we sit down, we have dinner. Everything's fine, we're laughing. We then do a game, Ring of Fire. And he's like sat next to me, and I put my hand on his leg a couple of times, and he just moves away. Like, he moves his leg away. I'm like, this is him in a nutshell. But I'm like, I'm not gonna let it ruin my night. Maybe he'll change his mind. I'm thinking it's almost New Year's. I put on like a really gorgeous, like my mum's top, and I look nice. Other people comment on it. Anyway, I'm not drinking until midnight. But this girl, Marjorie, he's like rubbing her back. He like shows her stuff on her phone, and he's like rubbing her back whilst he's showing her. He's like laughing with her, and I'm 50 minutes to midnight, we all go outside, we go to the square. He doesn't walk with me at all. He walks with Marjorie and other people, and I walk there practically by myself. I'm just following behind the others, and I'm like hoping he will pay me attention. He doesn't, obviously. And we get into this huge crowd. I mean, like the most boisterous crowd I've ever been with, ever. And I'm at the front, and he's further behind me. New Year comes, the fireworks are going, it's beautiful, everyone's like having a really good time. I'm crying into the fireworks because I'm like, 2018 was one of the toughest years for me, as you know. I was like, I'm literally being mugged off into the new year, and I'm streaming down my face because I look behind me, and he's like behind Marjorie, and he's like laughing in her ear and like getting all close with Marjorie. I thought he wanted me to come to New Year's so we could spend New Year's together. I didn't even get a New Year's kiss.
Right.
And I was hoping that his friends would notice this, but I guess because they're all such a close friendship group, I guess it's just not, but they don't say anything. So anyway, I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I'm in a new city. I was like strangely determined to not let this boy ruin my New Year's. I was like, fuck him. I'm gonna have a good time. I was so angry that I was like, I'm done. He's gonna ignore me, I'm gonna ignore him. He did a very good job of it. Right. Some of them went off to use the bathroom, and I said, I'm gonna come, let me just put my bag down. And he went without me. So I have fun with all the rest of the people. I spend it with another couple who become my really close friends for that night, and shit goes down, whatever. And in the end, it's maybe like 3 in the morning. We're all back in the apartment. Marjorie and her friend are off at a different apartment, and suddenly everyone goes to bed, and he comes and he sits next to me on the sofa. I'm like ignoring him, and he puts his hand on my thigh. He touches me for the first time that whole night, as soon as everyone's gone to bed. And I'm ignoring him, and he's like trying to talk to me, and suddenly it's like he's a complete different person. So we're like, okay, we're gonna go to bed. And I was like, oh, I'm not gonna sleep on the sofa, so I'll just go into bed with him. And we get into bed, and he spoons me, but I just lie there like this. I don't even touch him. I'm so angry at this rate. In the middle of the night, I have a super vivid dream that he like leaves me defenseless in Copenhagen. And when I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, it wasn't real. So I'm feeling vulnerable. And I like cuddle up to him because I'm like, he hasn't left me. It's just my mindset at that moment in time. Morning comes, and I know that he wants sex. I know it. That's what we do. So in my head, I'm like, I'm expecting it. I'm like, maybe I should do it, and he'll spend time with me. Maybe he'll notice me if I have sex with him. Maybe he will treat me like a human being. Maybe I should use him for sex and then never talk to him ever again. He starts making out with me, and it's very clear that my body just says no. And I think he reads that. So I'm like, I said something really mean, but it didn't mean to come out mean, but I said, sorry, I thought I'd be gagging for it, but I just don't want to. And I was like, so then I blamed it on me feeling sick because it was the first time I drank alcohol in a year. So I blamed it on me feeling sick. And he's like, it's fine. He gave me a peck and he gets up to get changed. He's sulking because I didn't have sex with him. He leaves me feeling in bed, having me apologized, which is so stupid. I should never apologize. But I'm feeling guilty because I didn't have sex with him. I'm like, are you getting dressed? He's like, I'm gonna go get breakfast. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll come with you. I could use the air. He's like, you don't have to come. And I'm like, no, I'll come with you. So I get changed and I run out to the bathroom quickly and I come out of the bathroom and he's gone. Yeah, he's like, he didn't even wait for me. At this rate, I'm like, you know what? I've got one day left here. I go tomorrow morning. I'm not gonna let him ruin it. So I was planning to go sightseeing no matter what, because I wanted to see Copenhagen. And we went out with the couple that I made really good friends with, and then he came with us. And I did my sightseeing. We were civil with each other. He didn't, again, he didn't treat me as anything more than just someone he knew. Yeah. And I was fine with it. I was like, I was being cold with him. I would be civil, but I was fucking fed up and I was just beyond done with him. That night, we're all chilling out and we start to watch a movie and he sits next to Marjorie and I'm on the other end of the sofa with a couple between us. And I'm like, I feel like an outsider in this person's home, this person who invited me. So I made the decision. I saw a vegan restaurant around the corner and I was like, I just want to get out of the house. I want to see things. So I'm like, I'm just going to go get some food. He's like, I'll come with you. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. I was like, you can stay. I'll be fine by myself. But he's like, no, I'll come with you. And he walks with me and I'm like, I should probably bring something up. So I say, I say it to him, I'm like, I have a feeling you regretted inviting me. But I want to say thank you for letting me stay anyway. And he just kind of dodges it. I don't think he fully understood. He's a boy, basically. He's a tiny, immature boy. He just doesn't know how to handle emotions, which I knew all along. So yeah, that night, again, everyone goes to bed and he's suddenly super attentive again. And he's like, well, you should come to bed. I was like, I'm sleeping on the sofa tonight. What? He was like, come to bed. I was like, no, I'm getting up at 5 a.m. I don't want to wake you up. He's like, you won't wake me up. I'm sleeping on the sofa. He's like, okay. So as I'm sleeping, in the middle of the night, he brings out a duvet and a pillow and he puts it, it's like Santa dropping presents off. I didn't use it, but at least he thought about me. Anyway, the couple that I made friends with, and he ended up getting up at 6 when I was leaving anyway to say goodbye to me, which I thought was really sweet from the couple, not him. So the couple get up and they go straight back to bed, but it was really nice. And then we hug awkwardly and I'm like, thank you for having me. He's like, yeah, it was fun. Let me know when you get home. And I'm like, thanks, bye. I leave, I get on the flight home feeling bittersweet because I had a really lovely time, but I also had simultaneously the worst time. Fucking imagine inviting someone to another country and then just ignoring them the whole night. His friends probably didn't, I'm surprised they didn't question why I was there because he treated me like nothing more than just someone he met. Right. What, they're probably thinking, why is he even there? I get home, I don't tell him that I've arrived safely, I block him on everything. He can no longer see my stuff, I can't see his stuff. I'm fully done. If I see him again, I'll be civil, but I am never giving myself. When I talk to you about the fact that I've given my body up to people who don't deserve it, I mean people like him. And I'm glad that I'm now at a stage where I can say no because I feel it in my gut and I don't force myself to do things anymore for the sake of the other person, because he's also done not very nice stuff to me, but I've always just let him. So yeah, he messaged me maybe a day afterwards saying, did you get home all right? And I said, no, I'm still stuck in Sweden. And he was like, he knew I was joking because it was the majority of our relationship. And he's like, what would you even be doing in Sweden? And I was like, yeah, I got home safely. He's like, okay, good. I liked his message. Never spoke to him again. That's the story of when Mary realised she was never gonna let herself be treated like shit by a boy ever again. I gave him so many chances in those 2 years that we've been together. I think he expected me to he wanted me there for sex.
Yeah,
that was
totally.
it. Can you fucking imagine? Oh, I was so mad. And that was the time where Ariana Grande's Thank You Next was like a hit.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it felt like super like...
You handled it so well, though.
I was proud of myself. I'd never handled it like that before.
I
would have been pining after him. I would have been like seeking attention, but I was really proud that I was like, I refused to let him ruin. I was in a foreign country I didn't know anyone but him.
I don't know what I would have done.
Right. I'm like so proud of myself because I made friends. I like stuck with them. And I think it was kind of like a fuck you because his friends really liked me. They laughed at my jokes more than they laughed at his. It was more satisfying to like prove to him that I did not give a shit how he treated me. I think he knew that he was treating me that way. Like, I think he knew. And I spoke to my dad about it. My dad was like, maybe he had a thing with this Marjorie girl. And I was like, why did he fucking invite me then? Because he knew she was there. I think he invited me on a whim. And then as soon as I was there, he regretted it. But at least, like, even if you regret bringing someone there, I would never leave them defenseless.
That would...
I could have...
Even if I didn't, like, even if I regretted someone being there, I would feel so bad if I ever, like, stopped, like, paying attention to them.
Right.
But the fact that he totally, like, dismissed you...
Dismissed is the right word. And then expected sex from me. Yeah. I was so angry. Because as soon as everyone went to bed, that's when he became attentive. It was so bizarre. I could have, like... walked off and he wouldn't have noticed. But I wonder, like, I know it's probably going to come up because my dad's like, why the fuck didn't you say anything? And I was so close to being like, are we going to pretend that you didn't ignore me all night? But I just have this thing where I don't want to like ruin people's nights. It was New Year.
No, I get it.
I didn't have the energy and the thing that he does, and this is proof from the whole morning when I said no to sex. He makes me look like the bad guy. No matter what, he always victimizes himself. So no matter what happens, it would have been my fault that New Year. But I wonder if he knew he was doing it because
he was just so like ignorant.
I personally cannot comprehend how anyone could not see the difference between completely ignoring someone and then expecting to have sex from them.
Unless he was like maliciously trying to do that, I don't understand how somebody...
But I don't think he's capable of that maliciousness. Do you know what it is? He's like... And I can say this, I hope you post this somewhere where he can see it, because he broke my heart. He broke me as a person, but then built me again. 2 years, roughly, of like pursuing friendship, hooking up. Like, we'd gone on like a few, like 1 or 2 dates. Like, it was always me chasing him. 2 years of that, and that is what I get? That's what I'm worth? Fuck that. I let people treat me like shit, and that's why when I do meet someone who, like, how I know is really sweet, you just have to, like, makes all the fucking difference. I'm only going for nice guys now. It's gonna be a thing.
Great, nice guys, 2019.
Mac knows.
Thank you, next.
Thank you, next. Wow. Ugh. It's gonna be a story for the grandkids.
Yes. Perfect.